everybody to React and Create, is where I react to a video while making artwork. So we're watching a video of the harsh reality about AI and artists and what you need to know by Ripa. If you guys don't know Ripa, he is a pretty much a comic book creator, or he created the Rippaverse. He used to be a political streamer and slash comic book streamer. I think he kind of does it. I haven't watched a lot of his videos lately because I've been focused on my own stuff. Anyways, long intro. Let's just begin the video.
People are starting to realize just how quickly AI is developing, and it's already impacting several industries in a big way. But when it comes to art and entertainment, things have gotten especially heated. So in this video, I want to offer a level-headed response to the rise of AI and its growing presence in the creative world. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Eric July. I'm the founder and owner of Rippaverse Publishing, a comic book company that's seen a lot of success in just a couple of years. Yeah, and naturally, this is something that affects...
He's been doing great with the Rippaverse, by the way. He has been doing great with the Rippaverse. He got statues already made, comic books, some animations here and there. Because I remember when he first announced it, or before he announced it, actually, he said like he was done with the comic books at that point, like 2 or 3 years ago, or it's probably been longer at this point, because he was tired of how the comic book industry was writing their characters, tokenization, DEI, quote unquote wokeness, etc. And so instead of me just continue complaining, what I'm gonna do is create my own universe, get some cool dope writers, artists, and just create the Rippaverse. And that's exactly what he did. He took down almost all the posters of like superheroes like Batman and Spider-Man. Instead, he just put his own characters, and that right there is very inspiring.
Our industry directly. I'll be sharing my position, but I'm also going to deliver some harsh realities for people on all sides of the AI conversation. Let's get into it. Now, I do want to be clear about what I'm specifically referring to. I'm not talking about the general use of AI, which has been around for a while and is already baked into a lot of the tools that we use every day. For a lot of folks right now, AI just feels like nothing more than a faster, smarter search engine, and in many ways that's true. But in this conversation, we're specifically talking about generative AI, and that's a whole different thing. Generative AI refers to systems that can create original outputs, images, text, music, based on patterns and data it's been trained on. So when we talk about AI generated art, we're talking about programs that scan millions of existing images and then spits out something new by mimicking those styles, forms, or structures. That's fundamentally different from an artist using a digital tool like Procreate or Photoshop or tracing. Those are just modern brushes, and those are tools that still require an artist's hands, their vision, their skill set, to really bring that to life from scratch. So the key difference here is authorship. With Procreate, the artist is the creator. With generative AI, the artist becomes more like a prompt writer or creator that's directing a machine to produce something.
By the way, guys, actually a good spot that I actually stopped it here. What people don't realize right now, which is gonna be in a future video on my YouTube channel where I explain more about it, is that AI is actually very expensive as of right now. I'm not saying that's not going to change, but yeah, AI is actually very expensive, because when people don't think about is how many images people are making right now in order to get the right image. Because right now you can't really fully edit. You could edit, but not to like fully extent like to get it exactly where you want it to be. Especially if you're not an artist, you're just trying to figure how things go. You're like, okay, maybe this look good, maybe that look good, and etc. So a lot of AI right now is literally melting GPUs, and I will actually explain more about that in a future video. But yeah, generate a picture of Eric July
based on learned inputs. That shift is what's making so many people uncomfortable, and why the conversation around AI and art has become so heated. Now, I know there's an ongoing ethical conversation surrounding this, and it's not without merit. It's no secret that generative AI is trained by scanning and learning from the work of other artists, often without their consent or knowledge, and that alone raises serious concerns, especially when it comes to intellectual property, copyright, and long-term enforceability of trademark protections. But while that's an important conversation to have, it's also a massive one. So for the purposes of this video, I'm setting that aside, and we'll tackle those issues in a separate discussion. Right now, I want to focus on a different set of concerns and realities that everyone, especially artists, need to hear. When
Okay.
generative AI started to gain traction, a lot of people misread the situation. Some assumed it would never pose a real threat to talented artists. That was a major miscalculation, mainly because they underestimated both how good it would become and how quickly it would get there. This is why I believe graphic designers in particular are facing the most immediate disruption. On the flip side, especially among illustrators, many people severely overestimated how much the broader market actually values artists. And that's a big reason why we're seeing such emotional backlash.
Right. I think people didn't realize about like, damn, a lot of the customers or a lot of the general fan base do not care how an artwork is created, right? That's why only a few people like watching streamers who do art, who create art content, because not everybody really cares how the artwork is fully created. They only care about the end product, and that's how usually the general public are. And so I think like a lot of artists' egos were like attacked. Like they were like, "Holy shit, really? Yo, what up? What up, Jackson? How's it going?" And they're like, "Holy shit, what? People don't actually care about me. They just care about the product. What?" And I think that was a thing where like it opened a lot of artists' eyes. Where like, damn, people don't really care about, or at least the general public, because there are obviously they do. There are people out there that care about the process and how a artwork is created. Don't get me wrong, fully, but I'm just saying in general, a lot of people do not care how a product is created or how is like how long it takes or anything like that. They only care about the end product. And yeah, I was very surprised of how many artists were like, "Damn, dude, are you serious?" I'm like, duh.
Around AI. This might be the harshest reality of all. If you followed me, you've heard me say this a million times. Artists need to understand business. That starts with accepting this fact. Unless you're
That is 100% true. Artists just cannot be only focusing on the business side. I mean, on the art side, they have to work on the business side, aka marketing, aka community, aka stop. Don't treat your audience like shit. Uh, and this is not even just like for like indie artists or anything like that. The industry needs to understand this. Voice actors needs to understand this because I there was not that long ago where a voice actor from like Genshin Impact or a Gacha game went crazy on their fan base like a goddamn nutcase and attacking their fan base. That is dumb. Don't do that. Don't attack your fan base. What are you doing? Ow, ow. I just sit on my balls. I sit on my balls. Oh. Am I gonna cut that? Am I gonna leave that in the video? Sorry. Anyways. Um. But no. But yeah. Anyways. Don't attack your audience. I think that's what a lot of people need to understand. That look at the Rachel. I forgot her name. Zegler. I didn't say her name. From the Snow White. She's an artist, right? She's an actress, right? She attacked her audience, and that movie completely flopped because it wasn't the marketing. It was big part of because of her. That's where like the whole snowball effect happened, right? And because she attacked the audience. A lot of things that you guys seen that have been like failing and failing and failing. One thing that always adds up, there's someone in the goddamn company or creator attacking their audience. Stop doing that.
teacher. 99% of your audience is not other artists. Regular customers don't view your work through the same lens that you do. As an artist operating commercially, you're a service provider, a means to an end when it comes to delivering entertainment or storytelling. Now many are coming to terms with the fact that a lot of customers simply don't care how the art is made. They're only focused on the final product. That may sound sad, but it's the truth. And it's forcing some people to realize that they're far more disposable in the marketplace than they previously believed.
So
Yep.
you're going to see this happen a lot more.
there you go.
Now, there's going to be
Yeah.
a lot of people that aren't going to have any
I already
jobs
made a
pretty
video about
soon.
this.
You know, you have the, what is that? The 9 leaving Minas Morgul. Like, oh, fuck, man. This is insane. And so you've got Rivendell here. Yeah, so if you are an artist, this has been a really bad week for you. And I want to promise you that it's going to get worse.
A lot of AI art coming out. It is literally better than most artists' best work. I don't consume the method, I consume the product. If this gives me a better product, I gotta give it the credit it's due. It's a good product. I don't give a fuck about the method. I don't give a shit.
And it's
true.
only going to get worse as AI becomes more widely embraced. One of the clearest signs that most people see you as nothing more than a service provider is how they talk about AI democratizing art. They don't care about your skill set, your years of training, or the craft. To them, AI is just giving them access to something that they used to have to rely on you for, and yelling at them to pick up a pencil and learn to draw isn't going to work. They don't feel shame about it. They don't have to. Now, let's be honest. Most people, even fellow artists, didn't care about AI when it was used for memes or YouTube thumbnails. But
Right.
the commercial application is happening faster than many anticipated. And this isn't just affecting high-level professionals. This is going to hit artists at every level, freelancers, studio veterans, everybody. Before I continue though, let me offer another hard truth for my fellow artists. The world has been trying to bypass you for decades. They tolerated your egos and respected your talent because they had
Oh my
to.
God.
Because you could produce.
Really?
Now that there's a tool that might let them
Really,
bypass
James
you
Cameron?
entirely, they'll do it without thinking twice. And many of you didn't help yourselves
Funny.
by walking around like you were God's gift to the world. That attitude is
Right.
partially why they're eager to move on from you. Now there's this quote going around that AI will
Which I completely understand that. And that's what I mean. A lot of people are doing that right now, or they were doing that. Like a lot of artists were pissing off people with their egos, and and not fully accepting of like the new world, pretty much, right? Like for me, I said this a lot in my videos. I hate AI. I wish it never existed on the creative field, but it does. It's here. You cannot deny that. And if you deny it, you're just in you're coping, I guess you could say. And the one way that you could showcase that you are better than AI is to showcase who you are, but not in a way where you're egotistical and you do your own, like you just showcase like your original ideas. You're creating your own thing where people want to hire you because you're creating something they want, because they can't replicate it through AI, or they can't get it exactly your style, how you would create it, right, through a commission or whatever, through traditional art piece or digital art piece or anything like that. Like, oh, I could just get it from here. I could get it from this artist. Now, that's where the big tricky part happens, where an artist needs to figure out exactly how they want to bring artwork to the world. Because I've been noticing a trend on the Artist Alley stuff, where a lot of artists on Artist Alley art, a lot of the art looks the same from first glance, right? And what I mean by that is like they do the same techniques on digital art than what everybody else is doing, or they keep picking the same characters. What people are, what everybody else is doing, that kind of, like they keep doing that instead of trying to pick out characters for like what relates to the art better. And also, I believe I've been saying this for even before the whole AI blew up. I believe an artist really needs to focus on their own IPs. It doesn't have to be like fully like 100% on their own IPs, but they need to focus on original IPs, because that will push you further and make you have a way better chance of succeeding than doing just fan art. I think fan art is a good art to, like, for marketing and to sell some stuff in an Artist Alley, get people familiar with your stuff. But I feel like that's just pretty much the end of it, kind of thing. Where like there's the ceiling with fan art, but with your own IP, you could go even way further beyond than just like, oh, cool, you did a cool art piece of Dragon Ball, cool, awesome, I love it. All right, cool, and that's it. People move on instead of like, yo, dude, I love this character. What is this character about? I want to see. Are you gonna? Or what do you think about doing with this character and your series and your world and stuff? oh, well, I did this planned out, or if you keep up with me, I got this artwork ready. I got a lot of artwork in the works for pretty much my designs and my IPs, etc. And just keep a lookout for that kind of thing, right? Because when people are not like gonna come, like, oh, when's the next Dragon Ball art piece you're doing? Oh, it's more of like, I like this Dragon Ball piece you did. Cool, I love it. Let me buy it, and that's it. That's like pretty much almost the end conversation. And that's where I realized, like, I gotta really focus on more original artwork. Even though right now I'm doing a lot of fan art, and the biggest reason why now I'm doing fan art is because I'm just prepping my 50% of fan art side for my Artist Alley stuff. Because the other 50%, I'm already done. I've been working on a lot of designs for my League of Universe for some time now. I've been focusing on that for the longest time. I will update some art pieces here and there, but for the most part, that 50% is like 40% done now, and that's why I'm just trying to finish this other half. Just, I talked way too much.
Will create new jobs, especially for people who know how to prompt well, or that the future belongs to artists who embrace AI to enhance their traditional skills. And while that sounds nice on paper, it falls apart when you look at how this tech is evolving. Part of AI getting better means that it becomes less dependent on precise prompting. The whole point is to remove as much human input as possible from the equation. You think the end game is typing 20 lines of detailed instruction? No, it's a casual user typing in a single sentence and getting exactly what they want. So while there may be short-term opportunity for people riding the wave of AI that also have a shred of artistic skill, the idea that prompting itself becomes a specialized long-term career is laughable. It's just another way that folks on the other side are trying to console themselves in the face of this massive disruption. But let's circle back to this idea of democratized art. The truth is, as AI improves, people with rough ideas but no capital are going to default to using it, and they already are. You've probably seen folks openly admit to using AI because they lack money, time, or skill. And even other artists might lean into it for like an indie project. Think about a line artist who wants to make a comic. They might skip hiring a colorist altogether and just let the AI do it. And as this becomes more commercially viable, people from all economic classes are going to be selling these AI sort of generated art pieces. Sure, you can argue that people...
Which, again, I don't want to see that as a bad thing, by the way, guys, of artists using AI, especially if they're only using it on their own original IPs. I feel like that's the best way of doing it. That's just me personally. So like, for example, if I create a comic book that has only line artwork based on the comic book, and I asked AI, hey, can you color this as like a minimal 6-color piece on pretty much on these panels, can you do that, AI, whatever you want to call it? And they'll just do that. And I'm like, all right, cool. I don't have to hire somebody to do that for me. Like the shading of it and all this kind of stuff. It just does it for me. So I'm just using it as a tool, right? And it's helping me to get to the final end product, but it won't be like the full end product because I already created like the most important part, which is like the line work and the characters and the story and stuff like that. It just helping me enhance that a little bit, pretty much. And I feel like that's the best way of using it, in my personal opinion. But that's just me. What do you guys think?
People with more capital might prefer traditional artists, but even that's not a guarantee. Who's to say that they don't want to streamline their budgets too? Everyone is looking to cut costs. And if AI offers a cheap, fast option, don't be surprised when even the big spenders take it. But I gotta be fair here.
Which is not a cheap option right now, by the way, guys. It could be a cheap option in maybe in a couple months, a year, 2 years, 10 years, who knows how long. But right now, AI is not cheap. All right, I want to make that very clear. AI is not cheap. It uses a lot of energy. Just to make that very clear.
A lot of people want to frame AI as this great equalizer, as again, it's democratizing art and entertainment. But if we're being completely honest, the biggest beneficiaries of this shift are going to be these mega corporations that already dominate the market. Why? Because they have the infrastructure, capital, and scale to implement these tools in the most efficient and profitable way. They can generate content at a fraction of the cost, sidestep dealing with creative teams entirely, and flood the market with algorithm-approved material. Meanwhile, small creators are still fighting for visibility, and as AI content becomes more prevalent, the signal to noise ratio worsens making it even
The
harder
voice critical
for
AI.
truly original voices to stand out. So while it may feel like AI gives everyone access to the same tools, it's the giants who can exploit those tools at scale who are positioned to win the most. They also own these notable IPs. Another hard truth is that many artists are now discovering just how little most people actually care about the creative process, as I alluded to earlier. And part of the blame falls on the artists themselves. For years, inflated egos made some creators feel untouched.
I just said that. Like, I just said that. I'm telling you, dude. Like, it is the artist's fault. Big egos, man. Big fucking egos. Like, for the longest time. Big egos. And like, I literally use her as an example because she is a quote unquote an artist, and she ruined the film because of her ego, because of her own selfish, take on the movie Snow White. I feel artists who are realistic about how the market is going, and artists who are understanding of what the next steps they need to take on in order to embrace the new market, I guess you could say. And the thing is, one other way that artists could really make it, like I said it earlier, is just to focus on yourself and create your own thing. Don't copy what everybody else is doing completely. Do what you want to do, in a way that will appeal to to your audience, to the new market, and where people just want to buy your stuff. I mean, we've been seeing that for a lot of artists from time and time again, from back in the day, even to now, when they created their own vinyl figure toys, when they figured out their own designs. Banksy is another one who created his own kind of like branding. So you just got to figure it out. It's difficult, but it's still possible. It's difficult, but possible.
Touchable, dismissing their audiences, talking down to them, or acting though as their skill alone entitled them to unwavering support. The lack of—
I literally said that. Stop. I'll say this one more time. Don't attack your audience like they're dumb. Stop doing that.
Of humility and personal connection has caught up. In a world where people are increasingly detached from how art is made, the process only matters if the person behind it does. If you spent more time becoming personable, sharing your journey, showing appreciation for your art.
Yeah, Jeremy the worst for the ride. How you doing, Jeremy the worst? How's it going, dude? Welcome, welcome, welcome. That was the stream. All right, we're back. Sorry, I had to pause that for a little bit. Don't worry, I'll edit the part, but let's go.
Audience, or inviting them into your world, maybe more people would actually care that it's you behind the brush instead of an algorithm. Art is still sort of emotional. It always has been, and social media could be the worst thing that happened to most artists because they lost their mystique. And now the general public sees their attitudes in a negative light. And going out of your way, making enemies out of your customers and other creators for superficial reasons wasn't smart. So not even the best artists are going to walk away from this.
I'm actually going to be doing an experimental not that long ago. I'm going to make a brand new Twitter that just focuses on art only. Because my Twitter has become more of just me in general. Like I post art still, but what I mean is like I talk about things that I like. That I'm like it's all over the place now. Like it's like a personal Twitter now. So my content creator Twitter. I think that's the best way of putting it. So I'll be making a brand new Twitter where I'm just gonna schedule a bunch of art from the beginning to whatever, and have so much content to post. It's all just reposting content at this point, but it will be like new because it's a brand new Twitter. And I'm just gonna experiment with that and just like, oh, this is the artist, that kind of thing. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Untouched. People say otherwise to soften the blow.
Also have the best name? Hell yeah! Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you. I wonder if Jeremy Worst to be in it for sure. He should win it. He does a lot of work, man.
But nobody's truly safe. The
should win
companies
too.
most insulated are the ones who already own recognizable IPs, but even they're not completely in the clear. Now you might be thinking I'm saying all this as like a black pill, but I'm not. I just want artists to be honest with themselves. If this is your craft, you better start working on an adjustment plan right now. Now, for us here at the Rippaverse, we've already made a commitment to not use generative AI for our artwork. We give opportunities to both up-and-coming as well as veteran traditional artists. And while some may eventually try to sneak something through, we've done a solid job of catching it so far. I did a video a while back that rubbed some people the wrong way, but I think a lot more people are starting to understand what I meant by what I said. If you're an artist, just being good isn't going to cut it anymore. Not in this new landscape. You're going to have to offer something else. And what that something else is, that's going to vary. For us, it's the interactivity with our fans and
Right. So for me, it's like content creating, right? I want to be a content creator where I was only focusing on being an artist for the longest time. For the longest time, like I always did creative stuff here and there, but I was never uh like in content creating. I was never really focusing on it. I was just posting like whatever. I wasn't really focused, if that makes sense. But now I am. I'm gonna see how it goes. Like this year, it's gonna be one of my last years of being a like full-time artist, and see how it goes. And like the big part of it's gonna obviously gonna be with Artist Alley, content creating, and all this kind of stuff. And then next year we'll see how everything goes. But I'll be more focused than ever and really pay attention of what I'm doing as an artist and as a content creator to build a community. And also, I promise you guys, I will never shit on you.
the larger Rippaverse universe. For you, it might be something different, but whatever it is, figure it out now, because the ones who do, they're going to be the ones that are able to at least house these skilled artists and keep this thing going. A lot of artists got spoiled straight up by these mega corporations, even if they pretended to hate them. They were paid these decent wages, they had job security, even if the mega corporations were losing money, and were propped up by these brands that did all the heavy lifting when it came to visibility. The environment created a lot of inflated egos. Some started to act like they were untouchable or like the fans owed them support, but now that things are shifting and that safety net is gone, those same artists must adapt. If this is your lane, you're going to need to humble yourself, become more personable, and stop being combative toward the very people you're trying to serve. And they aren't your peers. If you don't want to market, if you don't want to connect with your audience, then you'd better be partnering with someone who will, because that old model is collapsing and fast. So all in all, yes, your jobs are going to be impacted, from graphic designers to comic book illustrators. This shift is real, and you can either get angry at the tide or start figuring out how to swim in it. The truth is, there's still room for talent, but talent alone won't be enough. You'll need to adapt, you'll need to get strategic, and bring more to the table than just your ability to draw. The people who are going to thrive in this new era are the ones who treat their craft like a business, understand their audience, and remain flexible without compromising their integrity. Don't waste time pretending this isn't happening. Face it head on and evolve.
Which honestly, I do agree with that. Like that's what I'm saying. These people are saying like kind of what I said earlier, where like you just gotta focus on yourself. Stop focusing what everybody else is doing. You gotta figure out what makes you unique, what makes you like, what makes you a product that people want to buy, they want to get. Like Nintendo. As much as people hate Nintendo, which again, it'll be a video.
People are starting to realize.
Well, a video is coming out very soon on my main channel about Nintendo. But the reason why Nintendo is always like, people always wanted to buy Nintendo is because their IPs are unique and they always state what they want to do. They don't follow trends. They create their own trends with a Nintendo. That's why they've been one of the most successful companies to this day. And people should be paying attention to that, because they're one of the few companies that have not been laying off a lot of people compared to every other company who have been following the trends and doing what everybody else is doing. Just saying. So that's what I feel, that people really start paying attention and start being in denial. And just like, you gotta take the risk and actually pay attention to your marketing, into your community, into a lot of different things now, more than ever. And also, you still gotta leave some mystery of you compared to other people, because like me personally, if you're an artist who's not in like a political artist or anything like that, You should not talk about politics and social issues, in my personal opinion. There are already a lot of content creators and a lot of people out on the internet who already talk about that. You don't need to talk about that. You need to talk about your art and the stories you want to create. That's what people want to hear about, what you have to say or what you're creating or the story that you want to tell. That's what people are focusing on entertainers, right? Artists are entertainers, and that should be like their main focus on is entertainment, not on that side of that world, in my personal opinion. That's why when I see celebrities, especially actors nowadays, talking about politics, I call them a dumbass because you shouldn't be doing that. You should be neutral to sell your product for like the 100% of the pie instead of a fraction of that pie. Just for like recent example, like Snow White, because you'll piss off both sides, not just because you're quote unquote on one side, you're probably gonna end up pissing that side too as well. You don't know. So I'm just saying there's a lot of things that artists could do and you just gotta be smart about it. And I rather be neutral, guys, because that's the way that you get more people to buy your product instead of being not neutral because you're actually canceling out a lot of majority a big of a majority of your market just because of your personal politics. Um but it has nothing to do with your art, by the way. It has nothing to do with your art. And that's what I meant with like if you're not a political streamer and or political artist, sorry. And that's that. A few years back, after graduating from art school, my cousin decided to join a family business and work at her father's studio. When asked how she liked it, she remarked how eye opening it has learned about that only 10% of the job is actually creating art and the 90% is actually selling and marketing. And that's what I learned kind of too late, and that's what a lot of the new generation, new artists need to learn. Learn how to market and also learn how you do art, obviously, but learn how to market yourself very well and push yourself and like figure out what you can do as a marketer. Just read books, look what other people did to get out, become big, and try to remix it into art and creation. You just don't know how, like, you just gotta figure out how that works, pretty much. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm working a lot. I'm working towards like marketing myself and putting myself out there. And one way that I'm gonna do that, instead of just like online, is with Artist Alley, because I feel like Artist Alley is a really great tool to market yourself and really put yourself out there and sell yourself to the people in person instead of just online. That's just the way I'm gonna do it. But there's plenty of other ways to do it. You just gotta figure it out, and we'll see how that goes. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this react and creation, even though I didn't do a lot of art. But again, I'm in the process, right? I still look for the colors earlier. Anyways, thank you guys for watching.